What is good? Welcome. Oh my goodness, I have people live already. Welcome to, I have no idea, is it number 8 of Manifestation Musings? I'm so excited. Hopefully I don't have food in my teeth or on me because I've literally been shoving my lunch in my mouth. So it is a vibe. Hopefully you can hear me. Let me know in the chat how you're doing, if you can hear me, all the things. Because I also have, look how tiny I look. Fucking hell, you think I'd know how to the amount of like self-tapes and shit that I have to do for acting, and I just like do not have this set up down pat. I hope everyone is well. Let me know how you're going, what you've manifested recently. Honestly, life has been popping off for me. It really has. I love speaking about this work. I really, really do. I've had some incredible success stories that have just come in recently of just like insane. Hello. And I'm just so happy for everyone because this work, don't mind me, I'm like drinking my Diet Coke, is just so pivotal. Like it's honestly just so pivotal. And it's all about it's just remembering who the fuck you are. Like this is why we do this work, is so that you can remember that you're in charge. And who doesn't want to have that? Okay, what do I want to speak to today? There's a few things. Let me grab it up. Okay, this is the first thing. So, the first thing that I want to say, how do I say this? I don't want you to be intimidated if something comes up in your reality that's not the most fun. If a conflict comes up, if something, so recently a friend and I, maybe what was it? Was it Monday? Sunday? They had, I'm not going to speak too much about it, but it's totally resolved now. I don't get into arguments. I don't argue with people, but I'm going to be direct. If you're acting in wounded behavior, if you're doing something that I'm not cool with, I am going to speak to it. I'm going to be direct about it. And luckily enough for me, the friendship that I have with this person, they are very self-aware and they take ownership. And I didn't have to say much for them to kind of realize like, okay, step it up. And an old version of me would have definitely freaked out and been like, oh my goodness, have I lost this friendship? Is there going to be space between us? Like, what's going to happen? Like, I value this friendship, yada, yada. Maybe I shouldn't have said something. But it's like, no, because there's never a problem because I'm always the solution. I know that everything I say is well intentioned. I know that I've cleaned up my side of the fence. So I know that I'm not overreacting to something. I have mastered the skill of being able to be like, okay, is this me reacting from a trigger, or is this like, that is totally like, that's out of line and you shouldn't be doing that, or you shouldn't have said that. There's a difference. And because I've cleaned up very much my side of the fence, I know that I'm never overreacting about something, that I'm never putting in boundaries out of my own insecurities and triggers. I think a lot of people still, as they're doing this work, they're like, oh, you're not allowed to talk to this person, or you're not allowed to be following this person on social media, or why are you liking all these accounts? It's like, okay, why are we getting upset about that? So that's always my first point of call is like, am I warranted with getting upset about this thing? If I am going to speak to it. And I'm not going to be afraid that this is going to end a relationship. Because I think when it comes to materializing a specific person, let's bring it into romantic specific person out of friendship. Some people think that they have to be on their best behavior, that they can never say that you've done something I don't like. You have to accept behavior that you wouldn't normally accept if you weren't materializing, like if you weren't manifesting this thing, or you'd become super avoidant and you'd try and pretend that it wasn't there, but you'd still be ruminating and thinking about it. And that's not what we want to be doing. Be authentically you, yet at the same time, make sure that you're not reacting out of wounds, and just know that everything's going to be okay. And because I really trusted in the fact of like, no, there's never a problem because I'm always the solution. I trust in this dynamic between me and this person. Everything's good. Everything's fine. They were like, I am so appreciative that you called me out of my shit. And it's allowed me to really reflect on like I value our friendship so much, and it's allowed me to really reflect on my actions. And I'm like, amazing, because like I'm it's not that I'm telling you this thing so that because the thing is, okay, I'm going to speak to this bit as well. Sometimes with people, you'll get this, they'll mirror back to you where you'll say something like, okay, I don't like this thing that you did, or I don't like this behavior. But then what they'll do is they'll keep doing the behavior, and they'll lie about it. So I made it very clear when I had this interaction with this person. I was like, it's not that I want you to hide this. I just don't want you partaking in this behavior, this wounded behavior, and then getting more hurt in the process. Like, that's why I'm saying it. I'm not upset that you told me. I'm upset that you even felt you needed to do XYZ, because that just shows like you're hurting if you did kind of that thing. Um, and again, it's this belief and this trust of like, no, everything's good. Everything's always going to be sorted, because life is not going to be honky dory all the fucking time. And whatever relationship you're in, friendships, romantic, family, like any of it, it's going to be a growth process. People make mistakes. You might say something that is out of line, and you'll have to address it at some point. So just don't be scared when it comes to conflicts. I've been very avoidant in conflict in the past. I throw up boundaries, just avoid and ignore. Speaking more in the future is a goal. Yes, please do. And find the balance. Sometimes you don't have to speak to everything, and you don't have to address everything. Some things is just like, like I'm not even going to waste the energy. Whereas other things, it's like, no, this needs to be said. And especially if you feel like this isn't what happened with the friend. Let's park that to the side. But say there's an instance where you feel disrespected, speak to it. 100. That's not cool. I don't appreciate that. But then what I would do is I would disengage. I would disengage with that behavior, and I would bring space. I think a lot of people, because what I did, let's bring this friendship example. I spoke to what was needed to I needed to address, and then I left some space. When it comes to conflict resolution, I'm going to generalize, but a lot of women go, okay, we need to sit down, we need to talk it out constantly. And a lot of men don't really respond to that. And I know I've done that in the past, where I've wanted to address everything and I wanted to problem solve everything. And it becomes in this dynamic and this habit of like, fucking hell, there's always something wrong here. And she's always got an issue and there's always a problem. So it's this finding this balance of like, don't be avoidant and don't bite your tongue and feel like you have to, like, people are going to walk all over you. Fuck no, don't do that. But also don't be arguing all the time. And don't be like, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, or I'm not happy. It's like, no, 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 no. You're responsible for your own happiness. You can definitely say when that's not on, but again, not everything needs a reaction. Sometimes you can just change the behavior in here. Use discernment is what I want to say. Let me turn this heater off because now I'm sweating my bum off. This weather in Sydney is crazy. It's like hot 1 minute, cold another. Yes, Amina, I love that. It's interesting how even words, Selena, fucking hell. It's interesting how even conflict resolution is also tied to self-concept. Even speaking up. 1,000%. Yes, yes, yes. You get me. I love this. Because I know from old versions of myself, I wanted to fix everything. Because I was anxious that if I didn't address something, or if I didn't say something, or if there was a little bit of space between a friend and I, or a partner and I, then, oh my God, it was the end of the world. But now, knowing conscious manifestation and having a strong self-concept, no one's going anywhere. So if you have a little tiff or a disagreement with someone and there's a bit of space between the two of you, it's okay. Like, it's okay. Allow that person and allow yourself to cool down. Everything's going to work out, and just trust that you guys have a great relationship. And if at the moment things are kind of tumultuous or you're not seeing eye to eye, you can just select a new version of them and also a new version of you. Like, relationships, any type of relationships, are going to be the biggest like growth. What would be the word? Just kind of an area you'll grow so much when it comes to relationships, because they're going to be reflecting to you all the fucking time. So that's why when it comes to materializing a specific person, sometimes People can find it really tricky seeing their person all the time, say they're seeing them on a daily basis, because you really have to stay like in your conviction of your decision of like, no, I'm getting what I want if they're not showing up as the desired version. So yeah, it's practice really. Mainly use it to my Yay! Oh, that's so awesome, Patrick. I'm so happy to hear that. And you're from Rome. We love that. I have no idea. What time is it in Rome now? Is it nighttime? I know I'm in the future, but I have no idea how far ahead I am from the other side of the world. Because I think like this time, if I'm correct, this time kind of sits at the evening of the US. And I was like, oh, and then it will also like if anyone isn't working on their day off in the southern hemisphere. But yeah, let me know what time's in Europe. 10:44 p.m. Toronto. Ooh, it's getting late. Thank you for joining me. We love our Canadians as well. Inspiring and motivational to me. Yes, we love that. And also, I thought it was going to be super early for the UK. 3:44 in the UK. Bless your heart for joining. I'm so happy that this is the thing, okay? Even if you don't pay it, like you're always paying with your attention. So I am so fucking grateful for anyone who watches my videos, who is on here live, who leaves a comment. Like you don't have to spend anything with coaching, and I'm just so appreciative. 10:45 in New York. Of it all, because for me anyway, your focus and your attention is your most important currency that is more valuable than money, because that's creation. Your focus and your attention is what creates. That's imagination. So I'm going to go, this is what I'm going to ramble on now. It's because I was speaking to a client this morning about it. It's like, remember, you're paying with your attention, even though it's free. You think being on social media is free. It's not really free. You're consuming so much stuff which is going to at some point with repetition, and if you allow it, is going to impress on your subconscious. And depending on what state of being you're in, your algorithm and your 3D experience is going to recalibrate. So you really want to just, you don't have to be perfect, but just pay attention to where your attention is going. And be able to use discernment. It's like, I don't know, my father, God love him, but like he will happily watch the news, every single fucking channel that exists from morning to nighttime if he has a day off. Like he will watch it in Tagalog, he'll watch it in Filipino, he'll watch it in English, he'll watch it on every single channel possible, he'll watch the world news. And I'm like, this is the most depressing type of programming to be listening to. Like, what are we doing here? And you're always paying with your attention. 8:45 p.m. in Mexico. Ooh, that's awesome. So yeah, you're always paying with your attention. Also, I'm going to speak to that now. I think I spoke about it in another live, but the other day, was it a day off for me? I don't know what it was. My days blend together because I work from home. I was like, okay, I need a bit of downtime. I need a rest. And so I'm like scrolling on like Instagram, looking at TikTok, and I'm like, I'm not feeling rejuvenated or rested at all. Like, at all. You can fool yourself and say that being on social media, paying with your attention is like, oh, yeah, I'm just having a break. But you're not. Like, the amount of shit that you're consuming, that's a lot. That's a lot. And especially if you're doing it for hours and hours and hours and hours, like 3, 4, 5 hours, let's be honest with ourselves, before bed, just be mindful. Just be mindful. Hello, Sonia. Just be mindful. And the reason why I say this is you can be using that time to be going, not, you don't have to use fucking 5 hours, but you could be doing 10, 15 minutes of like closing your eyes and focusing on the new reality. Because as we keep consuming like everyone else's life and the 3D, you're not creating anything. You're not selecting a new reality. You're just consuming other stuff. Girl, you look gorgeous. Oh, thank you. That's so lovely. I actually put in effort today. Not with the hair. The hair is still half wet, but the face is on. So I intend that makes sense. You don't have to be perfect, but just be mindful where your attention is going, because that's the most important currency you'll ever fucking have. So sometimes we need to kind of parent ourselves and have boundaries of like, no, I need to fucking go to bed at a decent hour so I can have energy when I wake up in the morning to not only live my life, but have energy to be able to persist in the new and wanted story. Sometimes it takes a bit of effort to be like, no, I'm not going to believe the 3D, especially when circumstances are in your face. And I'm going to really have to kind of focus on this new story. Yes, this message was for me. I know, God love you, 3:45 in the UK, and I'm there going like, make sure you get to bed at a decent hour. Seriously though, like sleep is so important. And again, when you go to sleep, you're in that dream space. You go to another reality. Think of it this way. Your mind is also processing what you've been impressing, if you want to use that term, what you've been affirming for, what you've been selecting during the day. Like sleep is very important. Use it as part of your process and your creation, because as much as we are consciousness, we are a physical being. And so it's very important to make sure you're looking after this meat sack of yours. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. What else is something that I want to address? I feel like I speak about this work so much. I'm like, what have I said? What haven't I said? Oh yeah. So one of my clients this morning, God love her, she was saying that yeah, she spends a lot of time outside of work. So once work finishes at 6 p.m. or whatever, she's not going to bed till like 2, 3, 4 a.m. I'm hoping it's not 4 a.m. 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, because she's like on social media. And I was kind of like, I was quite direct with her and blunt. I was like, look, I love you, but one, we're not resting here. We're consuming other people's lives. And this is the thing. Like you can, how do I say this? How do I want to say this? Okay, I'm going to speak for myself. I don't give a fuck about what other people are in charge of my own reality. Like, I'm going to be super blunt here. I don't give a fuck what other people are doing. Okay. I don't keep tabs with what other people are doing. If I care about you for friendship, I want to hear about it on the phone or when I see you or text message me. I'm probably not going to watch your stories. I don't even follow my sister on social media. I live with her. She can tell me what she's doing. Like, I'm not going to use my energy and my time to be doing that. I'm going to focus it on me, my mission, helping other people. So I said to her, I'm like, 5, 6 hours of doing that is a long time to be focusing out there when you could be focusing on here. And think about it. It's like, why are you so quick to give your attention to other people and not yourself? That's the issue. Why are we so quick to be so absorbed with what someone else is doing and not be absorbed with our own future and our own manifestation and how we're feeling? Because you're meant to be God. You're the priority. I've been listening to affirmation tapes, but I've been having weird dreams. Is that normal? I had one dream about drowning. Oh, that's all. Last night I had nightmares too. That's normal. Completely normal. And I would go far to say that any bad dreams, I would give it a great positive meaning. I wouldn't freak yourself out. Like the drowning, maybe, depending on what context it would be in, maybe that's just like the old version of you is dying. You know what I mean? Like the old man is dying, as Neville Goddard would say, and now you're shifting into a new state. Like I would always assign it a positive meaning because everything is neutral. Selena, just out of curiosity, have you ever had an OBE? I don't know what that is. Sleeping paralysis or anything similar. You ever look up on the literature of the child? No, I can have crazy dreams and I yell in my sleep, but I've never had any sleeping paralysis. That would be definitely an experience and quite scary, to be honest. I have had, I guess, paranormal experiences where I think there's a ghost in our house. I don't know if people believe in ghosts. I feel like manifestation and paranormal are separate, but I also think they're intertwined in some way because it's to do with the unseen. But I think there's a ghost in our house because my mom has felt someone whisper in her ear in the middle of the night and then tap her on the shoulder. And she thought it was me or my sister coming into her room. And it wasn't. And she like freaked out. My sister has had her laptop, like it was open. And then someone had put 1, 2, 3, 4, like in like a Word document. And she freaked the fuck out. Our TVs, like one in the living room, one in my mum's room, keeps going on and off, on and off. So yes, I haven't had any sleep paralysis, but we have had some interesting moments here. What was your aha moment in regards to manifesting? How or with what did it finally click for you? Ooh, that's a good question. Aha moment, as in when did I believe or when did it fully click? For me, in regards to, I just made a decision. I was sick of my own shit. I was sick of feeling anxious. I was sick of giving my power away to everyone. I was sick of like trying to learn manifesting with law of attraction and not getting it. And I did that for years and years and years and years and thinking there was something wrong with me because like I just couldn't grasp it. Like I would be manifesting signs, but I would never manifest anything concrete. And then learning law of assumption, my life fucking changed like crazy. So for me, my aha moment was just getting sick of my current 3D and deciding. But it's through practice. I don't want people to be hard on themselves. Like if you're new to this work or you're new to law of assumption or whatever it is, it's a skill. Conscious manifestation is a skill. So just because you don't get it in a week or you don't feel confident, that's how I'll phrase it. You don't feel confident in your ability to create in a week. That's okay. Keep going. We keep manifesting till we pass away. So you've got what? Like what? I'm in my late 20s. I've got, God willing, another 70, 80 years to keep practicing this. Like there's no time limit here. Plus, you're never in competition. So, whether someone else has more money than you, more followers than you, manifested their specific person, or whatever it is, you're never in competition because it's your reality. So, I don't want you to feel like you have to speed up your shit just because other people have their things. They're just birds before land in your reality. So, why do we need to get jealous or be in comparison and competition mode when they're just a reflection and extension of you? Like, be fucking happy for them and know that you're next. Selena, can you explain the process of stats a bit in detail? Like, are we supposed to loop the same particular scene every night? You can, so state akin to sleep, how I see it is like, it's essentially, it's just getting into that drowsy state and then impressing either a scene or an affirmation whilst you are falling asleep. So I always say your reality, your rules. So if you want to keep looping the same scene over and over again before bed, amazing. If that feels great. If you want to keep it loose and just close your eyes and just kind of have it like a movie, amazing. If you want to just be closing your eyes and just be affirming the same thing over and over again until you fall asleep, great. You want to have inner conversations. State akin to sleep is not you have to do this one thing. It's no, you do whatever you want to do, but you do it when you're falling asleep in a drowsy state. And the theory behind it is that it will impress better on your subconscious mind. But if it's for me, I don't do sats, not stats, sats, because it keeps me awake. Like it doesn't allow me to fall asleep. My mind starts to get even more like switched on. And so it doesn't make me drowsy. So I just don't do that. You can if you want to, and you can experiment with it and you can decide to do it one night and not another. But that's just a technique, and techniques don't manifest, you manifest. So I intend that was helpful and made sense. I feel myself getting angry at my 3D when things don't go my way. I guess I get frustrated that what I want to see in the 3D isn't happening and I end up in total anger. Is that normal? Okay, this is good. I want to speak about this. All right. It is totally okay to feel the feelings. You're getting angry, you're getting upset, overwhelmed, totally fine. Just remember, one, anger is coming from a fear state. Anger is coming from a state of being where you know you don't have what you want. So it's okay to feel that feeling, but it's also to be honest with yourself and be like, okay, I'm getting angry because I still have the awareness that this thing isn't here. So I'm not in the state of being or the state of consciousness that I need to be in order to experience what I want. Because it's through the repetition of going back to this decision of, no, I'm getting what I want. I don't fucking care what the 3D is showing me. I'm getting what I want. And continuing to like normalize that. I'm going back. I'm going back to this state. I'm going back to knowing that I'm going to get it or that I already have it. That's what you want to be doing. So it's okay to feel angry, and you can definitely be. You can. What I would do is, if you're feeling angry and you're noticing the lack, you're noticing that you're not in your current 3D is not conformed, I would start rampaging and hyping yourself up so you can start shifting into a state where you're like, yeah, fuck, I am going to get what I want. Does that make sense? So it's like utilize that emotion and that anger to shift your focus. So rather than still being angry that it's not here, it's like, no, I'm going to get angry. I'm going to use this anger and I'm going to rampage my affirmations or rampage my inner conversations or fucking like angrily script or whatever you want to do so that you can come back to this version of you who's like, nah, I'm getting what I want. That's what I would do. So it's okay to feel angry, but just know that when you're feeling angry, you're still focused on the fact that it's not here because the version of you who has what you want wouldn't be angry. These circumstances wouldn't even exist for that version of you. So therefore, how I always see things is like, okay, do I need to lose my shit over this thing that wouldn't even exist in the reality where I have what I want? No, that doesn't make any logical sense. So I'm not even going to bother getting angry. That's what I do most of the time. I'm pretty chill, to be honest. So I hope that helps. Also, what do you think is better, manifesting in steps or going all the way out, like all the way to the end? Because personally, I like living in the end, so I wouldn't focus on getting a text or a call. If you trust the law, if you trust manifestation, you trust in your ability to create, I would go to the end. I would completely focus on the fact that you are the version of you who feels safe and secure in this amazing relationship. You're feeling unconditional love, that communication is a normal and consistent thing for you, or that money is like unlimited, or your bills are paid in advance. Like, I would be focusing on that version of you and bring it back to you rather than it's like the person, the money. It's like, no, I am the version of me who has this thing. So, there's no right or wrong way to manifest. If you want to manifest in steps, incredible. If you want to manifest by focusing on the end, incredible. You can do whatever you want to do. I am going to address something 1 second in regards to steps because I think this is important. So, this is a thing that I see people doing that they need to fucking stop doing. If you are manifesting in steps, okay? No. If you're manifesting at the end, you're focusing on the end for a specific person. You're saying you're in this amazing relationship, but then you're getting angry at this person because they're seeing other people, they haven't fully conformed yet. Don't be doing that. Just because in your mind you're like, you're in this relationship, you have no right, I guess would be the word. You haven't got the commitment. So you can't be angry at someone who is seeing someone else or isn't committed to you just because you're living in your end in the 3D, in the 4D. Some people can get really confused where they're like, yeah, but they're my boyfriend or my girlfriend up here. So why are they doing that in the 3D? It's like, well, they haven't fully conformed yet. You haven't materialized the commitment yet. And by you focusing on the fact that they're still doing this particular behavior, you're not actually fully living in the end. So sometimes with some people, it's easier for them to be manifesting in steps when it comes to a specific person because then they're able to take it like moment by moment and they're not kind of going, yes, we're in this amazing relationship, but they're getting fucking butt hurt that this person is seeing someone else or is going out on dates or isn't calling them or texting them back. Does that make sense? So it's like whatever you do when it comes to a specific person, if your focus is on the end, if you don't have the commitment, you have no right to be yelling at someone and going like, why are you going out with this person, this other person, blah, blah, blah. Who fucking cares what they're doing? Go live your life and know this shit into being. So yes, that was a ramble out of nowhere, but that's what this is. Manifestation musings. Where are we? Sleep paralysis is very scary in the moment. Yes, your mind is awake, but your body is still completely asleep. Oh, no, thank you. I do not want to manifest that. Oh, fuck. That scared me then. A box just moved. It just fell. And I was like, I literally read ghosts are a thing. And then that box moved. And I was like, what is birds before landing? That just it just means that whenever there is it comes from, I believe it comes from Neville Goddard in regards to when there's land, if you're out in the middle of the ocean on your cute little boat or your ship or whatever, you'll know land is coming because the birds will be flying over. So therefore that's an indication that your manifestation is near. So it's kind of like signs. So if you're seeing other people getting what you are manifesting, then see it as a birds before land of like, oh my God, I'm next. This is happening. Or say you're getting, for example, I don't know, you're manifesting contact from someone and you start seeing their name all the time, or I don't know, they're popping up on your feed or your like that kind of thing. And you're like, oh, it's close, it's happening. So that's birds before land. There is a slight difference, in my opinion, of like birds before land and movement, but essentially everything is working out in your favor. So whether you see shit or you don't see shit, it's all part of your bridge and everything's working because you're that powerful that you can be like, oh, it's stagnant, nothing's working. Okay, you keep saying that. That's what's going to happen. It's going to look stagnant. Nothing's going to fucking work for you. Don't do that shit. Oh, yeah, I want to speak. Okay, I know I've got some comments to go through, but now it's just reminded me. So, one of my lovely clients this morning was saying, she was saying like how everything feels stagnant. And I was like, yeah, but there's so much happening behind the scenes that you're not aware of. And I always use the analogy of like, okay, you're center stage, you're the lead actor, right? Like a theater production. And behind the curtains, backstage, there are all these people running around, like pulling sets together, fucking like getting your next wardrobe. Like everything is happening. You can't be backstage and on stage at the same time. Like you just can't. So you're on stage having the time of your life, like having a great show, and everyone else is like running around haggard trying to get everything in order for you. So it's like just because you can't see what's behind the curtain doesn't mean nothing's happening. Um, and let's not see stagnant as it might just be stable. Like, I think some people, let's bring this out of manifestation, but everything's manifestation at the end of the day. Just because things are stable and boring and healthy doesn't mean there's anything that you're doing wrong. I think a lot of people can get into the habit where if their life is not like this, then oh my God, it's boring. But you want to get out of this. You want to get out of the highs and lows, highs and lows. You don't want to be creating drama for your entertainment or stress to be stimulated. Like you want to get out of the habit of up and down, and you want it to be like just a stable, consistent thing. So it's like the example of like when people are used to like toxic relationships, and there's always arguments. That when they do happen to materialize a healthy, stable relationship, it can feel boring to them and they start self-sabotaging it because they're used to the arguing and then they don't speak. And then, oh my God, reconciliation. And oh my God, we're even more in love because like we just had an argument, we just made up. It's like that just doesn't happen in a stable, healthy relationship. So it might not be stagnant, it's just stable and everything's working behind the scenes. Because that's what you want to get to. You don't want to be in this like, oh my God, a problem's happened. Now I have to manifest it away. It's like, no, you want to be in this content state where you're just like, life's good and it gets to be better. Like manifestation doesn't have to be life's fucking shit and now I have to manifest what I want. And you keep going through that cycle. It's like the example of like when lottery winners, they're able to manifest this big sum of money, but then it goes within the first year or however long because they haven't cleaned up their money mindset and their money beliefs. And then they end up back to that version of them before they even had the money or materialized the money. So it's like we don't want to get into these cycles where you manifest something because you don't have it, then you start self-sabotaging it or going back to your old way of thinking. You can't maintain it. And you're like, oh shit, I have to materialize it again. It's like, well, the version of you who is safe and secure in this relationship or safe and secure with money is just going to be a healthy, stable, content person who doesn't really have much drama in life. And I want that for everyone. I don't want you to feel like you have to be like, you want to watch drama? Go watch reality TV. Don't fucking create it in your own life. Read a book. Do something else. Where are we? You can try saying, I manifested this situation with my thoughts and I'm unmanifesting right away. I'm changing my state right now. I love that. When I feel jealous, I just say, of course they can have what they want. So will I. Yeah, you're next. You never have to be jealous about anyone because they're just an extension of you. I always see it as like I genuinely, jealousy is just not an emotion I tap into. Like I don't even remember the last time I was jealous on like hand on heart. Honestly, I just don't. It's just, I'm seeing their success. Like if they win, I win because I get to witness them in their their highest potential. And so I like, how incredible is that? And we're all one consciousness. So if it's possible for them, it's definitely possible for me. And of course it's possible for me because I'm the creator here. And that's a birds of four land. It's how you interpret things. Um, yeah, anger does come from fear. You don't get angry for unless it's from a fearful state. Selena, being back to conscious manifesting since December, mainly using affirmations. First few months were amazing, seeing serious improvement. Since Feb, some big drastic changes have occurred in the 3D. My question is, does the subconscious mind purge the innermost pains, old assumptions? Hasn't deterred me in the slightest. I'm a serious stubborn mofo. I'll get what I want regardless. Okay, so I don't necessarily like the term purge. I How do I say this? You want to have the mindset of like a purge isn't going to happen, and it's not necessarily for your reality to go shit before it gets better. But if it feels like it is, just see it as this is your old 3D is collapsing away in order for you to shift into this new version of you or into this new reality, or it's growing pains. Like that's what I would put it. Like it's all working out for you, or this is all part of my bridge. A purge, things going backwards, quote unquote backwards, or things getting worse out of nowhere doesn't have to happen for every single manifestation. It doesn't have to happen at all. Okay. I can't really remember if any of my manifestations went totally worse before I got what I wanted. Usually for me, my pattern that I can see is that I'll either get some movement and then get the full thing, or sometimes I won't get anything. And I have to really persist in knowing I'm going to get what I want. And it just comes out of nowhere. So for me, that's not a thing that I experience in regards to a purge, probably because I don't focus my attention on it. So, no, I wouldn't believe that your mind has to purge your innermost pains and old assumptions. No, I wouldn't see that as that's the reason, because you can simply just decide, just like putting on a jacket, you can decide to put the jacket on, take it off. That's what states are. They're like pieces of clothing. So you're God in a coat. Like that's kind of what you are. You are consciousness. Um, in this version of Selena. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like you can just decide to be in the state where you have what you want, and it's through the repetition, like I keep saying, of coming back to, no, I'm putting this jacket on, or I'm putting these glasses on of how do I say this? How do I use that analogy? I'm putting the jacket on of, I don't know, of like abundance, or the jacket of um in the relationship. Like states are just kind of like your attire, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does, but we'll roll with it. That's what we're going with. So the reason why I use the clothing analogy is because I don't want you to make it a big complex thing. Like you can go through the healing if you want to. You can make manifestation harder, more in depth if you want to, or you can simply just remove the jacket of that shitty version of yourself, take these glasses off and be like, no, I'm done. That's not me. I'm shedding this. That's cool. I'm going to select this new version of myself. Like it gets to be that simple. I think, um, again, I don't want to say this is a limiting belief, but because what we have for a lot of people, what you've experienced in the past felt so painful and traumatic that to just be like, all I have to do is decide to not be that version of me anymore seems too simple. And then you're kind of like, but if it's that simple, then why didn't I do that all those years ago? Because you didn't fucking know. You didn't know. And now you know, you can just decide for it to be that simple. I think because if you're coming from a space of like life was shit, or because we all get into manifestation, well, most of us anyway, because our 3D circumstances weren't very nice. So when you've experienced some kind of trauma, whatever the trauma is, and it doesn't, like, trauma for everyone, in my opinion, is going to be different. What affects you might be very different to what affects me. Just like pain tolerance. That's how I see it. So it's like, well, if all I had to do was decide not to be anxious Selena anymore, or decide not to care what so and so said, or if this person broke up with me, or blah, 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 then I would have done that years ago. And so I think people try and make things more complicated than they are to kind of justify why they were in that shitty mess for so long. But you don't have to make this harder than it needs to be. You can literally just decide, and it's through keep coming back to that decision. That's it. That's manifestation. It's changing you, not changing any. I did a TikTok today where it's like the work is to convince yourself, not to fix them. It's to convince yourself of the new story, not to be like, you're broken, you need fixing, and this needs fixing, and this situation needs fixing. No. Convince yourself of the new story and decide what reality you're going to be in, or decide what version of you is going to show up. I intend that makes sense. Yes, this is so true. We are so ingrained into believing that you have to work hard to get anything in life. So that's why I think we feel uneasy with the fact that you can manifest just by deciding 1,000%. And that was my old programming where for instance, so I grew up with like two immigrant parents, like mom's from England, dad's from the Philippines. They both came to Australia. And so like my mom doesn't have any family here. And my parents, I guess, like sacrificed a lot and worked hard so that my sister and I could have good schooling. And they paid for private schooling, Catholic private schooling, yada, yada. And so I saw them work really hard for the opportunities that were available for me and my sister. So I was like, oh, well, I need to make sure that I do well in school. I need to make sure that I do well in sports. I need to da da da. So I was always like working hard for stuff. So when I came into this work, even when in my early stages of law of assumption, I was like, well, I have to really work for this. I have to be affirming all the fucking time. Like that's the only way for this to shift. And it's like, there's an easier way. I wish I knew, but there was an easier way. But sometimes some people need to burn themselves out, affirming like a banshee, affirming crazy, like robotically and doing that. And then they're like, I don't want to do that anymore. And sometimes you kind of have to go through that learning phase. Some people love that. Like some people love just saying the same thing all day, every day, and that allows them to shift their state. For me, I'm more of an inner conversations kind of gal where I'm happy to talk to myself all day, every day, but it's like loose and I'm riffing and I'm talking to myself about this and I'm talking to myself about this. And it's not the same affirmation over and over again. So yeah, I very much agree. There's a lot of conditioning of like you got to hustle, but for some people, for example, if some people were brought up being very spoilt as a kid and they always got what they wanted, they didn't really have to try very hard. They might be amazing at manifesting because they don't have to. They don't have that story of they have to work hard. They're just like, no, I always get what I want. So embrace your inner spoilt child is what I would say. Selena, did you ever self soothe or talk yourself into fully believing and expecting a very specific desire? Have it manifest instantly within minutes or hours? Okay. So, yes, I have had things where they have manifested within the same day, within hours, like straight away, but there've been things that I didn't have resistance towards. There've been things that I wanted, but I didn't have they weren't tied to my self concept. So whether I got that or whether I didn't really give a fuck. Like a text message, cool, a text message, great. But that didn't, just because you get it, okay, I don't want to say this because that would be limiting. That would scare some people. How do I say this? No, I'm just going to say it and I'm going to trust that you can use discernment. Just because you get a text message from someone doesn't mean that they're your boyfriend or your girlfriend, okay? So you can manifest a text message, but materializing the commitment is a different thing. I want you to use discernment and not be like, "Oh my God, I just manifested a text message. That means that I can't No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying they're two totally different manifestations. You can get a text message, and that just means you get a text message. But that also could be a text message where you're going, "Oh, well, that means that I'm getting what I want." So it's what you're assigning meaning to. So yeah, you're always self-soothing. You're always talking and convincing yourself into a state, whether it's a wanted state or it's a not wanted state. Like you're always talking yourself into, he's a piece of shit, da 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 da, life's so hard, manifesting so hard, blah 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 blah. Whatever it is that you've got inside your head, then you've then shifted into a victim version of yourself. So we're always talking to ourselves in some way. You're either believing the 3D or you're not believing the 3D. Deny your senses. So yeah, there's been a number. Like honestly, I have like if I'm to go to my notes app, I have hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of things. I stopped putting stuff down at some point where I was just like, nah, fuck it. I know how to manifest. I don't need to be keeping track of everything. I might keep track of the bigger manifestations, like my free car, the 20 grand that I got. I don't know, the thousands of dollars of discounts, the piece of bathroom tile that disappeared out of my foot, like those things, like I will keep track of. But all the other stuff, like a text message from someone I hadn't heard from in ages, that to me is normal. But I don't want that to be dismissive. Again, I don't want that to be dismissive of like a text message from someone you care about is not a great thing to manifest. That's not my intention at all. I just want to say that as well. But I also want you to have the self concept of like, no, it's exciting that I got this movement, but at the same time, I don't need to be like overjoyed that this person text me. It's like, yeah, well, of course they're gonna fucking text me because I'm the best shit. Like I'm the best thing that's ever fucking happened to them. Like this conversation and this communication is normal. Let's not like start celebrating like we've won the lotto when this person messaged me. Of course you're gonna fucking message me. You miss me. I'm the best thing that's happened to you. And again, that's just sassy, Selena. Da, 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 da. Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. What you had just said about Camilla, I have said to my mum so many times, I'm like, if she is not the epitome of a strong self-concept, the fact that she was the side chick and then has become the queen, and she still speaks to her ex-husband, even though her husband is the king of England, she still is close with her ex-husband and doesn't give a fuck because like she's still very chummy with him and doesn't care. She's not insecure of like, "Oh my god, my husband is going to get upset that I'm still very close with my ex-husband." Tough titties. Like she's just like, "Cool. I'm going to speak to him and I'm married to him and you're going to be okay with it." Like if that is not a strong self-concept. Wow. And like, okay, let's be real here. She's not ugly, but she's not the best looking in the world. So looks don't matter. Looks don't fucking matter. She seems like I mean, King Charles isn't very attractive either. Let's be real. But they seem like they get on like a house. They're always laughing. They get on like a house on fire. So she probably trusted in that of like, no, the connection I have with him is unlike anyone else. Yeah, it's insane. I ranted to my mum about that for ages. To go from being the mistress to being the queen and still being close with your ex-husband. Crazy. Yeah, I went through that. I robotically affirmed I'm rich 35,000 times and I was so burnt out. It didn't feel good at all. That's when I realized that my state is what manifests. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you do your conscious techniques to shift your state. Like the reason why we say our affirmations is to shift our state of being. And therefore, in my opinion, you're not saying the affirmations to get the thing. You're not saying the affirmations to get the person. You're saying the affirmations to change you. It's all you focused. Thoughts are part of the state. And I guess I was doing it to seek movement in the 3D. Now I only do affirmations when I want to. Yeah. Like consciously affirming, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you enjoy that, great. But you don't have to. I think there's like this balance of like addressing core beliefs. Some people really need to address core beliefs because why? Because now I'm questioning my own thinking. Because I think when it comes to states, when people make that decision, sometimes I think they question it whether it's enough, whether just deciding that this is the version of them is enough. So if you actually do belief work and you work on your core beliefs, you're not going to be questioning that decision. I intend that makes sense. You're going to feel like, no, I've done the work. So when it comes to any clients that I'm working with, sometimes I'm like, okay, intuitively, and I've realized I do this, I know that they're not going to accept. Like I can just hear it with what they're saying that they're not going to accept, just decide. So I'm going to give them a bit more homework or a bit more work for them to do in order to feel like they are doing something. And then there's more trust. And then at some point on the journey, we can drop the work and we can just decide. Because everyone's different. And some people really like doing the work or conscious techniques. Where am I? Like I previously used to freak out if I got to play my overnight affirmation tape and would wake up all scared, but then I realized I'm a goddess, then how no, exactly. Like just because you're listening to night tape or not doesn't mean that you're going to manifest. Like it's techniques don't manifest. You manifest. It's your state that manifests. You're manifesting. So whether you listen to night tapes or not doesn't mean you're good. Like you're not going to manifest things. Plus, I go in and out with night tapes. Sometimes I really love them, and sometimes I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm not listening to that. It's ruining my sleep. I'm sick of hearing my own voice for 8 hours, kind of thing. Because I don't like, first of all, I always have it, if I do have night tapes, I have it on my phone and it's on the floor because I don't want anything near my ears or any radiation near my ears for 8 hours, especially like, I don't know, like AirPods in my ears. That's no thank you. The thought of literally for 8 hours having some kind of Bluetooth thing near my ear. No. No, 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 no. Where am I? Oh my God, I love that the chat is popping off. This is awesome. Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm glad. I tried to do it. Oh, fuck, I've picked my lip. Don't look at the lips, but the eyes look okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Lol, you've got that right. We all feel that way about Camilla. But she definitely had her eye on the prize and was laser focused. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. And think about it. Like there have been decades and years that she could have doubted. Like he was with Diana for a long time. I don't know, was it 9, 10 years? I don't know how long. And still it materialized. Like it's crazy. And they still were friends and blah, blah, blah. And even before Princess Diana passed away, um, they reconnected. Like it's nuts. It's nuts. It's like, I don't care. The self-concept of like, I don't care that you've married and have kids with like a younger, more attractive lady. I don't care. I'm still the one who's chosen. And then he ends up having an affair with her. Like, wow. And she ends up being the queen. Wow. That's ruthless. That's fucking ruthless. Exactly. It doesn't matter how long we listen to the affirmation tapes. Listening once has already made an impression on our subconscious. You're right. Goddess, don't freak out. No, you don't. If it feels good, do it. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. What do you think of Sammy Ingram? Love her smugness and nonchalance. She's on point in my personal opinion. I think anyone who speaks about manifestation is fucking incredible because I don't think enough people speak about it. I don't agree when people go, oh, this space is really saturated, blah, blah, blah. I think it's up to the consumer, the viewer, to use discernment of what information they want to take on. I also think there's a responsibility from the creator as well, of course, but I also think as the consumer, you get to decide what you want to believe because, hey, you're God of your reality. And I want, if fucking everyone speaks about manifestation, amazing. I want you all to speak about manifestation because, like, there's still a tiny, tiny bit of the population who know about this work. Like, if the 7 billion people in this world, this was your normal way of being, oh my goodness, what a different world. What a different world. So yes, do your due diligence. Know your shit. Make sure you've been practicing this stuff before you coach anyone else, obviously. But if you're teaching other people manifesting, incredible. Teach the kids, teach your family, like teach your friends. Lead by example, like actually lead by example. People are going to ask you, what are you doing? What are you doing differently? Why are you so happy? Why are you so cute all of a sudden? What's going on? What's this glow up? Why are you glowing? Why are you making all this fucking money? Like, what's happening? What's with this new car? And you're like, oh, she's manifesting. Like, lead by example. Do you think it's the belief in self is what helps most with manifesting than actually believing in the topic that you're manifesting? If that makes sense. That's a great question. That's a great question. I would agree and say it's the belief in self, because people who don't know about manifestation, like successful people who don't consciously manifest, just believe that they're going to get what they want no matter what. They don't take no for an answer, and they're just like, no, fuck this. You can say no 1,000 times, but I'm still going to get what I want. So it's belief in self, and manifestation is about self. So that's why it's like you never have any wasted time, in my opinion, when you're manifesting, because it's all focused on you. It's an evolution of self. Like, how incredible is that? It's like, so when people go to me, oh, but I've been manifesting for a year for this thing, it's like, okay, do you feel like a different person? No. Okay, we need to tweak things, because you should feel like a different person. Honestly, I feel like a different person every single fucking week. I feel like a new version of Selena. I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense. And this makes sense. And I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'm going to tweak that thinking. Like, you want to be a new iteration over and over and over again. Like, you want to be this new version of yourself quicker than they make fucking iPhones. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point of manifesting, is to change you. And no one can take that away from you. No one can take away you. And if the circumstances present themselves, they seem the same, because you've changed who you are, you're not going to react the same way. So say someone says something you don't like, but you're a different version of yourself. You're like, oh, whatever. Water off a duck's back. I don't fucking care. And then you're able to recreate, like, select a new reality. And that's not going to be a thing for you anymore, because you've changed who you are. You don't make a big song and dance over something. It's like, that's the best form of, how do I say it? The best form of progress, in my opinion, is when you realize that you're not triggered by something that you used to spend weeks crying over. Pardon me, getting all bloody burpy from this Diet Coke. The fact, like, something that would make me upset for ages, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Oh my God, that's powerful. Okay, I'm going to answer a few more of these questions, and then I need a dip, because I need to go and work and go to the gym. That's what I need to do. Shit, actually though, when is my next coaching thing? I get so absorbed, like I'm like, what time is it? What world am I on? Okay, good. All right. Where are we up to? I feel all the time that sense that SP and I are just together somehow. Like, I feel her, that bond or whatever. It's uncanny, but I still doubt that. Like, am I crazy actually believing this feeling? One, I don't think doubt's the issue. I think you thinking you're crazy. I don't know, how do I phrase this? Rewind. Doubt's not the issue. It's you going, if you start going like, oh my God, I'm doubting. What am I doing? That's what you need to stop doing. So it's okay if doubt comes up, but it's then if you freak out that you're doubting, I would get rid of that. Like, I literally would get rid of that. If the doubt comes up, manifestation is a thing. Like, get ready for your manifestations. Get ready for them. They're coming. I will say this to every single live we do. If when this live finishes, your reality, like 180, everything changes, get ready. That can happen. Things can shift very fucking quickly. You can get off this live call and that person calls you, that money drops in your account, that opportunity happens. Like, get ready for it. Be ready. Be ready. So if you're doubting, you can always just be like, oh, that's an old version of me. I don't have to think like that anymore. Oh, that's just old thinking. I don't have to think like that anymore. That's amazing space versus pitch. I'm not too sure if that's in regards to me. If I said something, I forget what I say, but when you were first starting off, what was the first thing you manifested that made you solidify your beliefs in manifesting? Oh, because it was beyond just coincidence. Fuck, that was a long time ago. Oh, that would have definitely been my depression away. That was when I was like 13. But that was way before my days of law of assumption. That was before law of attraction. That was manifesting my depression away. One night I went to bed like wanting to like not be here anymore. And the next morning waking up. And again, I spoke about this before, but I called it prayer at the time. But I truly believed that if I prayed, it would go. And I woke up and I was just back to me again, back to normal Selena. And I ran into my parents' bedroom. I was like, it's gone, it's gone. That's when my journey started with this work. And I was like, holy fuck, there is something bigger than us. The mind is so powerful. The fact that you can heal yourself like this, literally overnight, huge, 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 huge. And no one can take that. Like, that's the thing with manifestation. It's like, create your own evidence. No one can make you believe. No one can make you think any thoughts, and no one can make you feel anything. It's all you. You're choosing all of it. Um, what I would do is if you're feeling that there's a lot of like turmoil and wavering, focus on your stability. So it's great that you're feeling this connection, which is awesome. That might be you're just maybe more of an intuitive person or you trust manifesting. But if there's turmoil and you feel you're wavering, I'd focus on your stability. I'd focus on breath work, meditation, EFT tapping, doing at least one of those, particularly breath work, and having like a good routine to your day because you want to make sure that you're feeling chill, like you're feeling calm, not for this manifestation, but for you. Oh, that's awesome. You are very welcome. Patrick? Free Jimmy John's. I'm glad you said sandwich place in the US because I would have no clue what that is. Yeah, seriously, this work is the best. Create your own evidence. Please, please, please. Okay, I'm going to shut the fuck up. I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you so much once again for just blowing up the chat, co-creating this experience with me. I love talking about this stuff. It's awesome. It's truly awesome. I intend that you just keep applying it and just practicing and honing this skill and just believe in yourself. This work is about empowerment at the end of the day. So I will either see you in the next live. I will schedule that. You're very welcome. Thank you guys for joining. My next live, my one-on-one spaces, the end group, we go live. What day is it? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in 3 days. That's happening. So come join us. It's going to be so much fun. And I will speak to you soon. Toodles. Bye. Love you all. Bye, bye, bye.